Whole numbers are not negative. Integers are negative. All right, guys, 7-3. This is our last set of notes for the unit. Let's get through it. That means stop talking and start listening to me. All right, guys, this is not hard if you pay attention. If you continue to talk and not pay attention, it's not going to be all that much fun. So. How would you know? You would completely turned around.
I don't know how you saw Mr. Lynn literally. You're always like this.
I actually didn't that time, but he just knew that he was guilty, so I think that's where that came from. Yeah, facing the front is helpful. All right. So we are going to find, you may remember this from Algebra 2 last year where you made P over Q lists. Does that sound vaguely familiar at all? What? All right, guys, what the P over Q list does, it gives you your possible rational roots. So first, you guys know what a rational number is? You're like, yeah, don't ask me. All right, so guys, integers are positive and negative whole numbers, like 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. Rationals are numbers that can be written as a fraction. So like 3 is still a rational number, so is 2/3, -5/4, 1/2, okay? Those are rational numbers. So you are finding all the potential rational numbers that could be zeros of your polynomial, okay? So if we look at our first one here, the way you set it up, your P over Q, that's a P and that's a Q. P is a factor of your constant term. So if we look at this one, the negative in front of it does not matter because we do plus or minus for all of these anyway. So we're thinking about the 6. What are the factors of 6? In other words, what things multiply together to give you a 6? Okay. And guys, I put plus or minus because -1 times -6, that's still 6, right? Okay, so you do plus or minus in front, and then you just list 1, 2, 3, 6. Not hard yet, right? All right, then the Q, that's factors of your leading coefficient. So in our example here, our leading coefficient is 2. What multiplies to give you 2? 1 and 2. You're going to do plus or minus in front of all the fractions you make at the end, so it's fine. All right, so then what you have to do is actually make your fractions here. So I would take 1 over 1. What is 1 over 1? Okay, and then 2 over 1, 3 over 1, 6 over 1. Okay, then you start again. 1 over 2. You do the whole list. So we've got plus or minus 1, 2, 3, 6, then 1/2. What about 2 over 2? Yeah, we already have that because it's 1, so we don't need to list it. And then I'll do 3 over 2. And what do you think? Do I need 6 over 2? No. Okay. All right, guys. So that is your list. Reading directions is very important with this section because if all I ask you for is a list of your potential rational zeros or rational roots, that's it. You stop at that point. If I ask you to actually find them, then you have to do a whole lot more work. Okay? It's not that bad. You just have to do synthetic division until you find one that works. So, okay. Okay. See? You're fine. All right, guys. So let's do the next one there. Let's do g of x together, and then I'll have you do the f of x on your own. So I need my p over q. So my constant term is 2. What are the factors of 2?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. And that's going to be over, woohoo, over my leading coefficient, which is 8. What are the factors of 8? Excellent work. All right, now the test. Felipe, what are the fractions?
1,
Okay,
2,
good start. One more.
Oh wait.
You're so close. Okay. All right. All right, so you guys try the f of x one. That list was a little bigger, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah.
A lot of fractions? Yeah?
How big is the list?
Well, that's, I don't know. That's decent size. It could be, probably not, but it's probably not really big. And it's not even if it's big, it's how many factors there are. Because, like, 71 is a big number, but there's not a lot of things in it. So guys, just make sure when you do this, I don't care what order you have them in, but please have some sort of procedure you go through. Do like 1, 2, 3, 6 over the first one, and then all over the second. Or do 1 over all of them, and 2 over all of them. Please do not just randomly pick. Like, all right, 1 over 1, 2 over 5, and 3 over 2. No, like 1 over 10. Please, no, you will be so lost by the end. You won't know what you did. Okay? So find some method that you like. All right. So we're okay with finding the possible roots, right? Now we're going to add another step. So if you look at the next one, I've already listed the p over q's for you. It's plus or minus 1 half, 3 halves, 1, 2, 3, 6. We need to find one of those that works. So what do I mean by it works? Like, what would I be looking for with synthetic division? What? Yeah, so your remainder is 0. If you get a remainder of 0, you know it works. So for these, do you think we want to start with 1 half and 3 halves? Probably not. Like, those are not the funnest to do synthetic division with. So I would start with a 1 or a -1, 2, -2. What do you guys want to try? What? 1? We'll do 1 first.
Oh, we asked what was
You can pick the next one if this doesn't work, okay? Oh man, it works.
No. On point again.
Okay, if it didn't work, what would I do? Yeah, you'd keep picking numbers from your list until you found one that worked. So hopefully you're lucky. Okay? And hopefully you don't mess up a sign on the one that works, because then, you know, you never get there. So When you're doing these on a quiz or test, either the list of P's and Q's will not be huge, or I'll tell you, like, here's one that works, find everything else from there. Okay, like, I'll help you in some way. So this worked. So now I'm left with 2x squared plus 13x plus 6, right? If I said find all solutions or all zeros of this equation, what would you do now? Factor it. So that's why we practiced factoring in our warm-up.
Just like, wouldn't you do the PQ to start?
Yes. So that was given to you. No, that's okay.
Okay.
No, it's not written in it. So yeah, you would find P over Q first,
Right.
then you do synthetic division, then you factor and solve. Okay. Well, hopefully you find one that works before. Sometimes there's, like, this is going to end up that all three of your solutions are in that list. So hopefully you would find one of the three fairly quickly. All right, guys, so what does this factor into? X plus 1, x plus 6, okay there. So if I asked you to find all the zeros, you would tell me x equals 1, that's the one you found with your division, and then from your factoring you would tell me negative 1/2 and negative 6. Were these also on our list?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. Okay, so you could have picked those and they would have worked with your synthetic division as well. Okay, so all right. So let's do the next one together too. So again, directions are very important here. The first little bullet says determine the possible rational roots. What is that asking you to do? So I start with factors of 8, or factors of 3. All right, guys. 1, 2, 4, 8, 1/3, 2/3, 4/3, 8/3. Yes. You want to try 2? Oh, I said I'd let Will pick. Will, what do you want to try?
Yes, 1, 2.
Okay. Excellent choice, Will.
So smart, well.
Good job, Will.
And guys, when you're testing numbers, let's say you're going through your synthetic division, and it's pretty obvious in the middle here that there's no chance you're going to get a 0 at the end. You know what I mean? Like, you've got huge numbers, and you're going to be adding huge numbers together. You don't have to find the remainder. Like, you can stop and be like, okay, no, that's not 0. That one doesn't work. You can move on to another number. Okay? All right, so this one then we have to factor again. So, let's see. We're getting 3x minus 2 and x plus 2. All right, so I am asking you for the zeros. 1, What are you going to tell me? 2, -2, and 2/3. Is it that bad? It is not that bad. What? You could just keep doing synthetic division. The only issue is if your solutions are imaginary or irrational. Like, let's say after you did your synthetic division, you were left with, down here, like x² plus 25. That doesn't factor. That's actually plus or minus the root. Those you will not find in your list. Okay. If it says possible roots, do the P's and Q's. If it just says roots, you're finding the ones that work. Roots, 0 solutions. Technically, they mean different things, but for what you're doing, yeah, they mean just that. Yes. What makes this 0?
Or sorry, the positive 2.
All right. I think there's a back of your notes, right? All right. Let's do the first one here. I want you guys to try it. So, what do you notice first about the way it's written? Yeah, it's out of order. So the first thing I do is rewrite it in the right order. All right, then make your P over Q list. You don't really have any fractions in this one. Then start trying to find one that works. Once you guys find one that works, stop, and we'll go through the steps after that. Because what's different about this problem from the others that we did? It's 4th degree, yeah. Anybody found one yet? Jack, what do you got? 2. Oops, I'm out of order. All right, guys, so now you are at this point of x cubed plus 4x squared minus 1x minus 4, right? From here, you have 2 options. If this factors by grouping, I would suggest you factor it by grouping, okay? They will not all factor from this point, though. So what you would need to do, if it doesn't factor from this point, continue on with your list. You already used 2, so you have to pick a different number. But do your synthetic division with these coefficients, okay? Because then you get down to something that's x squared, and you can definitely solve a quadratic. Does that make sense? Does this one factor? Yeah? Do you want me to show you what I mean by the division continuing? Okay. So I'm going to pick -4. That's in my list, right? But for my coefficients, I'm picking the 1, 4, -1, -4. You guys with me? Are you sure? You're being really quiet. Are you with me? That face tells me no. Where'd I lose you from?
I totally just said no.
Oh. Alright. Is anyone else lost?
So if we get a formula with like 4 terms, we have to do synthetic division.
So this is to the 4th degree, right? And then the thing you got from here is to the 3rd degree. You have to get it down to quadratic squared to use all of the ways you know how to solve, unless this one happens to factor by grouping, which this one does. But I'm showing you if it doesn't, here's how you do it.
Okay.
Okay. We're all caught up again. Stay focused. All right. So you guys see how that got me to x squared minus 1? Okay. Is that, I'm going to sneak it up over here. Is that something I can factor easily? Yeah, I get x minus 1, x plus 1. So my roots or my zeros, whatever I'm looking for here, it started as 4th degree, right? So how many solutions would you expect? 4. Okay, so what are my 4 solutions? 2, -4, and plus or minus 1. Please do not forget the ones you used synthetic division with. Like, don't forget the ones you found that way. Okay? How are we doing? Do you need one more? Okay, we're gonna go with yes. Let's do the one that is in this closure part. So you guys try this one right here. So find your P over Q, then find your solutions after that. Leave that up there. What's one that worked, guys? One? That's always nice. Does it factor? No. So, now what? What? You do not, because if it doesn't factor, the rational ones are not going to work. So you have 2 options. You can do the quadratic formula, or you can do completing the square. I'm going to review completing the square with you, especially for those of you who are taking calculus next year, because Ms. Crescioli, she hates it when calc kids try to do quadratic formula and everything. She says you're killing puppies every time you do the quadratic formula, so practice completing the square. She just hates it. She says it's so mean, and it's just funny. It's so much messier. Alright guys, that is the beginning of completing the square. I'm moving that 2 over, okay? Then, what you are looking at, this -3, so the coefficient on your x, you take that, and it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, you divide it by 2, and you square it. So, what is 3/2 squared? 9/4, right? You square the numerator and denominator. That is what you are adding to both sides of your equation. Still with me? Alright. Completing the square means you turn this left side into something that is a quantity squared. So, whatever you had here, this 3/2, that's what goes in this spot, because it's the square root of that, like, that's what you're plugging in there. And the sign is always going to match the sign from your original. So if this is a minus, you have a minus. This is a plus, you have a plus. Okay? So we are going to have x minus 3/2 quantity squared. Now on this side, yes, you have to add 2 fractions together. Would you agree that 2 is really just 8/4? So what's 8/4 plus 9/4? 17/4. You've completed the square now, and you just have to solve. How do I get rid of the square? Square root. So I've got x minus 3/2 equals plus or minus square root of 17, and then what's that going to be over? 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. You have 1 step left and you're done. Depends on the problem. If it's an even number in the middle, this is significantly faster. Alright, so your final answer would be 3 plus or minus root 17 all over 2. Sorry, I'll move that up a little so you can see it. So if I'm listing all the zeros, which one did I forget? 1, so that and 1. So, definitely more work if your equation doesn't have all rational zeros, okay? If it's got imaginary or irrational, you're going to do a little more work. Questions on anything? That's about as hard as it gets, so, yes.
Are you always multiplying by 3/2 squared?
Are you always multiplying?
Or adding?
No, it's whatever that middle term is. So here, let me do one more for you. Let's say we had x squared minus 6x and equals 4. Okay, so whatever is in the middle here, this we do 6/2 and square it. So what's that going to be? So we add 9 to both sides. Okay, so then this is x minus 3 squared equals 13. So x minus 3 plus or minus root 13. 3 plus or minus root 13. Okay. What's 6/2?
Oh, so
It's always that number. Yeah, actually. It's always this term divided by 2. Yep. Do you want one more real quick? Okay. They're easy to make up. No. Alright. So, what do I put over 2? And then you square it. So what am I adding to both sides? 25, right? Is that what you said? Do you get why it's 25?
wait. Last one, 6/2.
Okay. But what did I add to both sides? Yes. So the 3 will come in
Oh, that's
That'll be 5. Okay. So x plus 5 equals plus or minus, what, 2 root 6? Yes. Okay. Quick refresher in completing this part. Alright. Anything else about your notes? Are you guys okay? You were super hyper and now you're like super subdued. Alright. Do odds on your homework.
Everybody's talking about life.